Hello and welcome to our webinar, Raise the Curtain on Empower AI Assistant. I have Stephan with me. Hi, Stephan.
Hello.
And today, we're going to talk about and show you the new Empower AI Assistant. Maybe some information up front. You are all muted, meaning you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. If you have questions, then please use the chat functionality to ask them. And at the end of the webinar, we will take some time to answer your questions. And after the webinar, there will be some follow-up information for you so that you are well informed about this solution. I would say, Stephan, we start right away. And let's maybe, before we show the AI assistant, talk a bit about the topic because everyone is talking about AI at the moment, and it feels like it's a topic between hype and reality, and all the solutions are a bit, between hype and reality, let's say. So, how do we think about the topic?
Yeah, as you said, I think there is a huge hype around the world on AI and bringing AI into the corporations. And I think we have a very typical phenomenon of how a hype works, right? I mean, I think we can all agree that AI is a groundbreaking technology that will be there, and in a few years we can't imagine a life without AI. So I think that's for sure that this will happen. The question, of course, now is at the beginning with all this media coverage, there is a lot of expectations. And of course, as with every hype, the expectations are probably quite high right now, and the technology is still evolving. So there will be some negative moments as well in this process. But overall, I think what we see is that companies are looking at various solutions these days. Companies are under pressure, I would say, because people are using the technology privately on their smartphones with ChatGPT, of course. Even in the free version, everyone has access to it. So I think there's some huge pressure on IT departments and corporations to introduce something. And of course, AI in the context of the office programs, I think, is highly relevant because it affects literally everyone in the organization. So of course, there are the AI chatbots that companies have launched, but really bringing it to where people work and create, for example, office documents where they spend a lot of time with. That's, I think, the main focus for many companies these days.
Yeah, I think when we saw, for example, the introduction of Copilot, of course, that was a big bang, right? And a lot of people saw presentations and documents being created out of nothing. And then we tried out the first AI solutions, and then we saw maybe it's not, the results are not as good as promised, right? And now I see, when I talk to customers, I see a lot of people saying, we are not sure if it's ready for the use in businesses or if we should wait. I mean, what do you hear from clients?
Yeah, I think there's the uncertainty, and surely I think the Copilot announcement was a big bang, and I think they kind of, let's say, I think many people, as they put it, were a bit underwhelmed by what it actually can do today. So I think there was a bit too much marketing, and that's of course, as part of the hype, not necessarily helpful. But I do think that AI today has some amazing abilities already. In particular, everything around processing text. Working, it's a large language model, ChatGPT, so it's really the language what it masters, creating, optimizing, refining text. And I think that's why one should focus on this aspect and not promise like everything will be done automatically with AI now. Maybe in a few years, maybe, but probably not now. And I think, that's where we see it today, where the state of the situation now.
Yeah. I saw an interesting study. Maybe we can share it with all the attendees at this webinar in the follow-up mail. I think it was from BCG, but maybe you can talk about it quickly? Because
yeah, sure. So yeah, it's a good point. So it just has been, I think, recently announced and published this paper. So it was a scientific study with I think 7% of the BCG workforce. So it's 700 consultants from BCG participated, and they had two groups. One group of these 700 were actually working ahead and had to solve certain tasks with the help of ChatGPT 4.0, and the other half didn't use AI for it. And it were a broad range of tasks they had to fulfill, typical consulting tasks, like creative tasks, like come up with new ideas, and with analytical tasks, but also lots of how do you present these results, etc. So it was really very realistic setup and scientifically well done. And yeah, we shared that paper. And the outcome was amazing, because then they had people like judging the results of both groups. And of course, they didn't know which group was using ChatGPT and which one was not using AI at all. And the results were that the group with AI was 25% more productive, so much faster in solving these problems. And plus, and this is even more amazing, the quality was perceived as 40% higher than the group without AI. And we're talking here about very smart people working at Boston Consulting Group. So, and then that was really stunning, that there is a lot of potential with introducing AI to corporations. And yes, therefore I think it's they're not the question whether to wait longer. It's more the question, how long can I afford to not introduce AI if my competitors are doing it very soon and getting all these productivity improvements very soon as well.
Yeah, right. Because when you see these numbers, I think one has to ask, why don't we have AI in use already in companies or in every company? I personally, when I talk to our customers, I don't see a lot of customers saying, yeah, we bought a wide range of AI solutions. They are all like in waiting mode and seeing how AI develops and comparing solutions, but it's not like a lot of companies are making quick decisions on that topic, I think. And I ask myself why we see these numbers, this raise in productivity, right? It's strange.
Yeah, I think I mean, I do have the same impression. And of course, we are probably slightly biased talking to larger corporations and very big companies. So it might be different with very small companies like 5 to 10 people. They are probably very fast at trying out and also kind of getting rid of software that they tested. But I think for larger corporations, we do have few challenges they have to address. One is the cost point of things, right? I mean, many companies these days are very cost sensitive. Many companies actually have reduced their IT and software costs recently. And the AI solutions in the market are most of the time highly expensive. I mean, if you think about the Copilot as an example, I mean, if you want to introduce it company-wide, that's big numbers, right? So I think that's one challenge companies have to face. Then there's the second one, and also thinking of many larger companies, that there's the data security and data protection point, because many companies have started to train, so use an Azure OpenAI instance, and they have even trained the model. But now all these tools out there have their own AI connection, and they all have their own maybe ChatGPT or other frontier models, other LLMs, and it's getting a bit out of control, right? So you still have to be sure, where's that data stored? Where are these models trained with my data? Yes or no? Or maybe, hey, we have a trained model with our data. We know some clients that invested heavily in training their own AI model. They want to only use applications with their own model, because that's why they invested so heavily into making the generic model even better with their use cases. And all these cases hinder them from getting some random AI solution into those larger enterprises. And last but not least, you mentioned the Copilot topic, where there were maybe very high expectations and then didn't, let's say, not yet deliver on the promises. So then immediately there's like, okay, this is not worth investing on. This is not worth getting it to all computers. It's way too expensive for that. and we rather wait and see, or wait for maybe simpler solutions that actually focus on what AI can deliver today. So I think these are various challenges. And I mean, to be fair, AI is pretty new, and that new with the LLMs for us. So I mean, companies need some time to figure it out and then make a decision moving forward.
Yeah, and that's what we thought about that topic very much. Of course, we were waiting a little bit when the Copilot was presented and so on as well. But then we made a decision to develop something. So Stephan, would you like to give us and our audience an overview about what we have done and why?
Sure. I start sharing my screen now. So in a nutshell, what we offer is the Empower AI Assistant. It's focused on the strength of what AI can do for us today, and that's focus on language and text. So because that's where we think there's an immediate impact, where you can immediately get a lot of value out of it. So that's why we implemented the AI assistant for PowerPoint, for Word, and for Outlook. Those three applications are used to create professional documents that are sent to clients. And while designing the AI assistant, we really try to address the three challenges that I just mentioned. So Empower AI system comes at an incredibly low cost, yes? So it's even factor 10 times cheaper than like other AI solutions in the market, because we think we want to empower everyone in an organization to use AI with the Empower AI assistant. So we really don't think it should be such a high price point. It should be available for everyone, and that everyone can benefit significantly from it. Data security wise, we only use the Azure OpenAI instance. So there is no data sent to OpenAI. It's just Microsoft. No data is stored on the servers. No data is used to train the models. So it's, if you trust Microsoft and Microsoft 365, then you should trust the OpenAI Azure services, because it's the same, right? It's same technology, same company. And so we only focus on that. For large corporations, by the way, that have their own trained models, we even offer to implement our solution in the Azure tenant from the client, so that we don't even have access to that, so that even the prompts and input-output is totally inside your company. And you can then use your own trained models that you connect with, so you have 100% data security. And yeah, let's have the last point was the usability, and I mentioned focusing on text and improving it is what we think can AI do best today. And that's why we developed a very simple application. It is very easy to use, and you immediately get how you can use it, and it makes this main use case very simple. I start with PowerPoint. I think PowerPoint we all use the most most of the time. So let's talk about some real life enterprise use cases. And I think the first and foremost one is probably optimizing text. So I'm writing an important presentation, and I want to just be sure that it's, of course, there are no typos, no grammar issues, but I also want to make the language more precise. In particular, if you're like me, not a native American speaker, I want to get some support, right? And what I can do is, for example, I can just select text boxes that I want to check now. And I have in all three applications, in PowerPoint, Outlook, and Word, I do have the AI assistant as an add-on in my office installed. And if I click here, I get this very simple user interface. This user interface works as follows. On the left-hand side, I'll have the text that I just selected. And now I can iterate through the three checkboxes one by one. And now I can choose a ready-to-go command. Like I can use, I mean, technically we know it's called prompt. I can, for example, say, I want to improve that. That means it will automatically spell check, but it will also improve the language and changes even how the sentence is structured based on, of course, depending on my text. So you can see here, it literally changed the sentence. And I think what we focused a lot on, I think everyone knows by now, never trust and result an output from AI without proofreading, right? Never do that. That's not a good idea. So that's why we put a lot of emphasis in this user interface to say, you see on the right-hand side what AI produced, you can compare it with your text, you can ensure that this is still very good. Of course, the quality quite often is much better, that's why we use it, but it gives you the security of, okay, we're not blindly doing some replacements without knowing what's going on. I can here also say, if I don't like that suggestion, I can repeat it, like with ChatGPT, so it just reiterates and creates me a new proposal. If I like it more, and I can click accept, and then it comes to the second text box I selected. Again, here it runs the same command automatically, so it's very intuitive. There are some corrections in here, I'll accept. And last but not least, again, without reading everything now, I can check and then accept it. And you see what happens is, it automatically now, after I make that choice, replaces the text. It always keeps the formatting intact, so it will always remain. I will never have formatting issues when I use that functionality because it's directly integrated into Office. So this saves me a lot of time, because if you would do the exact same thing here, what I just did, for example, with the free ChatGPT version, right? You could do that. I mean, probably data security wise, you should not, or you must not do that. But if you would do it, you would have to copy the first shape, the text. You go to your browser, then you paste it, and you have to type in a prompt every time you run the prompt. Then you get the result. You copy it again with your mouse, switch to PowerPoint, paste it, and you have a formatting issue, and then you fix it. So 10 to 20 clicks for one shape at least. Three boxes on one slide would be 30 to 100 clicks, and this adds up, right? It's just not fun. It's not fun to do that. And in Copilot, by the way, you couldn't do that either. It will not be able to replace the text inside your shapes. So that's what we mean with focusing on these use cases that work today, make it very simple to use. Another example is, so this was my lecturer, someone who checks my text, right? That gives me a good feeling, but sometimes I want to have a copywriter at hand because I want to make a more exciting headline. In this case, I can select my headline here. I can run the AI assistant and say, hey, I want to create a promotional headline. So by the way, I didn't talk about it here. You can put as many prompts, like it's just a one-click button and the prompt will be fired in the background. You can centrally define company-wide, you define like the most relevant prompts that everyone could use. So no one needs to know how to create a prompt. Everyone can just hit the buttons. But if you like, you can create your own prompts and save them to your list. I will show that to you in a second. In my case, I can say I've created a promotional one. And if I run this prompt, you see it's a longer prompt. It creates me a nice version that is much more exciting, much more commercial, if you will. I can now, of course, I can regenerate if I like. In this case, I like it. And it helps me now to make a much more interesting headline for my slides. And so I can go through important documents with the help of AI and get much better results, much faster, exactly as we saw in the BCG study. Shortening text, another use case. I can do that really quick. I love that because maybe an example everyone can relate to. We have a slide, we created too much text, and we tend to reduce the font size to 9 and make it not readable, but everything is still fits on one slide. And we all know in our heart we should have reduced the text to make it more digestible. And with AI, this is a perfect use case, right? I can just select my boxes, say I want to run the AI assistant, and then I could, for example, say I want to summarize, so that actually reduces my text significantly. Again, I would normally, not in a demo like now, but I would read it and check and see, oh yeah, that's a good summary. And I go through those 4 checkboxes I selected, always compare, maybe rerun if I like, accept, and then I'm good to go. And it automatically replaces the text. And I have a much better slide where I can now actually even increase my font size. So another use case, depending if you're working in international setups, you might want to or have the need to translate slides from a foreign language into English or vice versa. Of course, that's a perfect use case for AI. In this case, for example, you can hear in my German accent, I work with American or English slides, but I also work with German slides. So in case I have these 2 slides in German that I would like to use, I can just select both of them, run the AI assistant and say, hey, I want to translate it to English. And the cool thing is it really translates in a high quality, because I tell the AI, hey, you're a native American speaker now, translate it and change even the wording if needed to make it sound American and not like a German translation. And so I can now do that and go through it, check again, and there we go. In with a few clicks, I have translated the slides to English. Last use case for PowerPoint. We saw also in the Copilot videos, in the marketing videos, this, oh, we create a deck from scratch automatically. And again, we are not there yet, but I think there's a use case, a sub-use case that has been shown, which is really cool to say, hey, we can easily create some content based on, of course, internet research. So for example, here, let's say I want to have an introductory slide about, hey, AI in corporations, what are the benefits and risks of AI? And I can just say, if I put the cursor like in here, so I don't select text to change it, I just put it in here and say I want to create text. If I now run the AI assistant, it actually doesn't show me before after, because now I can just use it like in with any other AI solution. I can chat with it. And for example, now I could say, create, I don't know, create a numbered list of advantages for the introduction of AI, I don't know, of AI in corporations. Sorry. So like that's, I just copy that and run it. Let's see whether it produces something which is reasonable. Okay, I get 6 reasons why it's a good idea. So it's a starting point. I'll accept, and it just enters it here. On the other side, on the opposite, I want to talk about risks. So I can do the same here. I just number list of risks. Where for the introduction of AI, let's see whether that works. And that's what you know also when you work with it. Now you get a list of problems that you might have. And I would never pretend to say, now you're good to go, this is your slide. I think it's a great starting point. It really helps you, and now taking it from there. And again, it's an assistant. It's not replacing you. It's not replacing your work. It's helping you get work done better and faster. And I think that's a perfect example. So I have a great starting point, and I can now maybe make some final adjustments. So all these 4 use cases I showed, of course, would work in the same way in Word and Outlook, because you always have the AI assistant integrated into your, I mean, if you're using Empower, it's on the Empower ribbon. Otherwise, it will be just on the Home ribbon, right? Another example that might come handy in Word or in any other application we talked about, here I have a long report, and I might, because it's just, I mean, I'm not expecting everyone to read that. I might just want to summarize that and add an executive summary to that document. So I could say, for example, create a short summary, and now we'll let it run and see whether we have a good result. We can see here it's much shorter than the input. You see the input was much more. I could, of course, rerun it and see whether I liked it more. Again, I would normally read it. This is a very short version. I want to show you one thing. Maybe, so I'm creating, you know, these prompts as I think, right? It's just, I'm not a prompt engineer at all. I just type in what I want. Now I see this worked really nicely. So I can now do a favorite star, like in your browser, and I can say, okay, this is my summary command, I don't know, for executive summaries or whatsoever. I mean, I give it any name, and I can add it. And now next time I need something like this, I have it here, summary for executive summary, right? I don't need to remember my prompt. I don't have to retype it. Next time I just hit this one button and I'm good to go. In this case, by the way, I don't want to replace the text. I just hit copy. And so it's my clipboard. I go here and I can paste it. And so I have a short summary of the whole article, then the full article. That's, I think, the magic of AI, what it can do best today, working with language. And that leads me to my last example for the short demo. Emails. And quite often, I mean, we are writing important business emails. So I think it's very important that that's a good language and no typos. And let's do an example here. So again, here you see AI assistant integrated. So if I create a new email. Imagine you had a call with a client or with a lead in sales, for example, and you made some notes, right? You made some notes, and at the end of the call, you say, hey, Mike, I'll send you a summary, and then we can follow up from there. And what we can do here, we can become lazy, right? What we can do is we just have our meeting notes, or I'll just type in very quick and dirty my comments. So I just do it now from a pasting, because I don't want to waste your time looking at my screen how I type in, or maybe I use even the voice recognition of Windows, so I can just talk there, and then it has this very basic text that doesn't sound very business-like. Yeah, here's, as promised, timeline, and there are many probably typos in, and there's, yeah, it's just a very short draft, which took me a few seconds, or maybe I just did those notes during the call. I can now select that and run my AI assistant. And again here, just to show you the power, I might have a cool prompt for that, but in this case, I would say, I don't have a prompt yet. I create one. I say, hey, what needs to happen with this email? Formulate this email, because it's just like some keyword, some short words, and because it's in a business context, use formal language, make it sound like a proper email. And now let's AI do it. And you see here it changes from hi Mike to dear Mike. I'm writing to from providing a brief summary. The project line, please confirm if the schedule aligns with the expectations or not. Kindly confirm it either. You see, it's a very formal language. Of course, it's just because I put the word formal in, but you have full control, and depending on your relationship with your client or lead, you can decide what kind of style you want. I think it depends on the context. But now if I like that, again, I could just favorite this for next time, so I can be really quick in my summary and let AI do the rest of the work. I accept it, and I have a perfect email that I can just send out now. So yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell. So it's really, I think, designed, and you saw that with the before after. It's really very intuitive, easy to use software, comes at a very low price, and it brings AI to every employee in your corporation and makes it really accessible. And I think as a result, as we've seen in the BCG study, you can expect a lot of productivity gains and higher quality in the outputs. So that's it for me. I'm already over time, Felix. Sorry.
Yeah. We still have 3 minutes left. Maybe we will need some more minutes to answer questions, because we have a lot of questions. Maybe you just mentioned it comes at a very low cost. We have there is of course the standard question: how much does the AI assistant cost? So maybe I give some information to our audience. For some price points, at least, of course, you can come to us and ask us for your individual number of licenses, and we will give you the information then right away. But for example, 100 licenses per year cost pricing in euro, 6,600 euro. Of course, we can give you dollar prices as well if you need them. 500 licenses would be for 19,300 euro, and 1,000 licenses for 29,250 euro. In the last example, for 1,000 licenses, you would have a per user price per month of €2.44. So it's, I think, 5 to 10 times less, depending on the solutions you are comparing it to, but a very low price point, so that it becomes like realistic that you equip a whole company with it and not only a few people, like, you know. The second question, Stephan, is for you. Would the AI assistant be able to read through our corporate style and tone of voice and adjust the text so that it sounds on brand?
Yeah, a perfect question, because I didn't talk about that. The short answer is yes, but it would work in the following way. So in your brand guidelines, you have a definition of your tone of voice, and what we would then do is take the relevant aspect that describes the tone of voice explicitly, right? And we would add this text to the prompts, to the predefined prompts. I'm saying that explicitly because I think it's very important. You don't always want to have your brand tone of voice in every command and every operation that is part of what I just showed you in the AI assistant, right? Because if we do that, we lose authenticity. If I'm communicating as a human being with a certain person, it would be weird if I suddenly generate like a tone of voice that doesn't sound like Stephan. But if I do official marketing communication, official material of the company, that's actually what is a perfect idea. And it's something that we will also help you with setting it up, that you'll add exactly these and the tone of voice to the commands, and then it will be added for every command you run with that specific description. Yes.
Perfect. Next question, also for you, Stephan. What languages does the AI assistant support?
Nearly all of them. I think I can't give you a list, but the list would be probably more than 100 languages. I can probably find out afterwards. But it's literally so all common languages are fully supported. I've read many studies to that, so of course we know that there is a slight, let's say, English bias in it. So the most training data is in English language, but I think, we can of course talk about Germany and a German language, and it feels like you would think it's made for Germans from Germany. It doesn't feel like it's missing out on anything. And what I've heard is from all the big or major languages, it's not a problem at all. But yeah, I can't say which ones, but I would say probably most of them in the world, except for some smaller, smaller dialects.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. That's a question that I will take. Can we test the AI assistant? So my comment would be, you should test the AI assistant because only because it's an AI solution, that doesn't mean your company has to spend money for it, right? It will spend money for it when it makes your employees more productive, and therefore you should test it. And what we developed is a little test framework for this. So we need 1 to 2 weeks and a few of your colleagues, employees, that test certain use cases all at the same time, with the AI assistant and without the AI assistant. And then they exactly write down how much time did I need for that use case with and without the AI assistant. And then of course you can directly see what time advantage the assistant brings, but also how the employees feel, meaning, was there now a painstaking task that I did not have to do, luckily, so the AI did that for me? Can I therefore concentrate directly on what really matters, on my work, on my job? So these are kinds of questions that we will ask, and then you get a very structured short review that exactly shows in hard numbers, in hard facts, what advantage the AI assistant brings you. And if you are interested to do that little test scenario, we will guide you through it, we will help you. Then just please approach us. There will be a follow-up email in there. You can find a button that you can click if you want to do that little test scenario, and then we will guide you through and help you. Maybe another question, Stephan. How long does it take to set up the AI assistant, and how much effort is involved there? How much work is it?
So yeah, so we have to distinguish two scenarios. The base scenario where we run it as a SaaS solution for you, again through Microsoft Azure OpenAI, we can set up the software and deploy it to you, the add-in, within a day easily. What we do is we have the set of standard prompts that was developed with clients over time, where we really found out what are the typical use cases, some of them that I showed you today. But then once you're using it, that's our recommendation, of course, we can adjust or add prompts on the fly to your instance of the AI assistant. And of course, for example, the brand voice, the question that we had earlier, this is something we can also incorporate before or after a few days of trying it out. But it goes very quickly, so we can start immediately. In case you are, as a larger enterprise, you want to deploy the whole system in your Azure environment, so not through us, but totally in-house, so to speak. In that case, it's more the question of how quickly we can set up 1 or 2 meetings with the IT department. But it's little effort. It's very, let's say, a low-hanging fruit to capture the value of AI.
Yeah. Maybe one last question, Stephan, if okay. I know we are running out of time a little bit, but maybe one last question, because I think this one is relevant to a lot of people. Do you also have an AI for the design of PowerPoint slides? So for the design, not only for the text, I think. Here. Yeah.
So the very short answer is not yet. That's exactly what we are working on these days. So what we're planning to launch in hopefully soon is a engine like an AI designer that where you have multiple ways of interacting with it. You can either just put a slide and put your bullet points, and then we automatically understand the context of what you want to what you're saying, and then it automatically finds a best fitting slide template that will then you can then choose, because there will be a few recommendations, and it will automatically put your text into the, for example, in a process structure, and then you can just say, oh yeah, I'll take that. The cool thing is, in contrast to, for example, the Microsoft Designer, we have an extensive library of slide templates that are matching your corporate design like 100%. So these are your templates. It's not generic templates. So the results our AI designer will produce will be totally unique to you as a company and will represent your corporate design. There will be other ways. You can also just prompt and say, create me a slide with 3 process steps, etc. The result will always be, we will always use this extensive library of slide templates, which we're currently building out for the clients. So you can then use that. So that's our next step in AI. So that was our first step here with optimizing text, and then the design will, in a second step, become a lot easier and faster to create stunning slides. Yeah.
I should not ask the when question, right, Stephan?
No. Please don't. I mean, we're working on it, but it's hard to estimate because it's, of course, a big thing. But yeah, with high priority. So hopefully not too soon we'll meet again here in a webinar.
That's always the most difficult question in software development. When will it be ready? Okay, yeah, but we are working on it. And until it's there, of course, when you have Empower in use, you have design materials, you have templates that you can directly use with one click and then fill with text by the AI assistant. So yeah, you will have quick and beautiful results with Empower as well.
Yeah.
All right, Stephan, thank you very much for the demo. All the attendees, thank you for taking part and listening. It was a pleasure to have you here. Please wait for our follow-up email. In that follow-up email, you will get some information regarding the AI assistant, a little video from Stephan showing the assistant again, the study from BCG that we talked about. So everything you need to contact us to do a test of the AI assistant for your organization, everything will be in that mail. And yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you again, Stephan. I wish you all a nice day, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.